Hi everyone. So I'm going to give you a testimony that is also a lesson. I am so nervous because I didn't realize God wanted me to share this so soon, but I'm going to share it. I was in a toxic relationship a while back and I left it last year. So when I left the relationship, I remember the Lord saying, it's time to clean up, it's time to really get serious. And so I had realized that I was dating the same demon in different bodies, the demon of toxicity, the demon of abuse. And so it was clear that there was something in me that was attracting unhealed toxic men. And so that was an unhealed me. Oh, I'm so nervous. I was so unhealed that I would end up dating and attracting the same demon that would keep piercing on the unhealed part of me. And so it was time for me to heal. And so the Lord began by healing me in stages. And I remember a friend of mine said something and it stuck with me, and it's what has built me up really greatly. And my friend said, there is somebody you're becoming every time you show up in the presence of God. There is somebody you are becoming. And so I said, okay, Lord, there's somebody I'm becoming every time I showed up. And so I used that mindset every time I showed up before the Lord. And I said, there's somebody I'm becoming. There's somebody I'm becoming. I may not see it today, I may not see it tomorrow, but there's definitely somebody I'm becoming every time I show up in the presence of the Lord. And so I remember in my Bible study group, we were doing 40 nights of the midnight prayer. And those 40 nights, I can tell you, oh my goodness, God healed me in 40 nights. God healed my whole life. Trauma, talk about daddy issues, mommy issues. God healed everything in 40 nights. I let me tell you something. I approached those 40 nights in a state of complete surrender. And as I went to the Lord each time, I went saying, there's somebody I'm becoming. There's somebody I'm becoming. There's something I'm letting go. There's something that's leaving me. There's something that's leaving me. And so day one, God would say we're dealing with jealousy. Day two, God would say we are dealing with verbal diarrhea. You know how you just say things and they're like, oh my God, that's disrespectful. Day three, people pleasing. Day four, and so God healed everything in just 40 nights. And when I tell you, after 40 nights, I looked back and I was like, who have I become? And we would be giving testimonies in our Bible study, and people would talk about how, they got jobs, how they got this, how deals opened up, blah, 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 blah. And for me, I wasn't seeing anything physical that God had given me, but what He gave me emotionally, the kind of healing God gave me mentally. Guys, I look back and I'm like, I am so glad those 40 nights happened. And that was not the end of it. That was around July 2024. And so I kept showing up. I kept showing up. I kept showing up. Come September, the Lord led me to do the year of the bride fast. And in the beginning, I thought I'm doing this fast because of marriage, right? I desire to be married. And so I thought I'm doing this fast because I want to be married. But I didn't realize that God was killing so much idolatry that I had put in my life. And I didn't realize I had so much idolatry. Oh my goodness, so much idolatry. All these things of wanting to date a wealthy person, wanting to date a certain person who looks a certain way. Physical appearance was very important to me at the time. And so I'm not saying wanting to date somebody who has money is a bad thing, but it's a bad thing when it becomes an idol. See, an idol is not always a bad thing. It's also a good thing that has been put in the place of God. And so God began to deal with these things for me during the year of the bride fast. And I remember he helped me let go of such desires of wanting to be with somebody, an older person. When I say an older person, I mean somebody who is 10 years older than me. Currently 27, so I wanted to be like somebody who is 37 and onwards. And so by the time I was done with the year of the bride fast, I realized that was an idol. I was looking for my father. And so God was telling me, your daddy issues are healed. And so by the time I was done, I was like, what? What? What is that? Right? And so God had healed that part of me. And so I was like, oh, I'm actually open to being with a younger person. and so on and so forth. And so these are things the Lord was dealing with. And I remember even about money, and I was thinking, I need to date somebody who has money. I need to date somebody who is giving me the best of the best life. And so the Lord had to deal with that for me as well, and said, what do you have, Brenda, that you can claim that is yours? What do you have that you can say you've given yourself? And so everything that you need, every good and perfect gift comes from God. And so, and then the Bible says, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtaineth favor from the Lord. And so that means that you will be the good thing that your husband will find. And so favor will root from there for your husband, and things will open and you will be surprised. So God had begun to deal with these things for me. And I want to talk about the one idol that I had and I didn't realize it was an idol. And that is the physical appearance of what I wanted my husband to look like. And so I had this idea of I wanted a tall, dark, bearded, handsome man. And it's not a bad thing. Again, it's not a bad thing to have specific desires, to be specific to the details. Is not a bad thing. It's now a bad thing when it's become an idol. I didn't know it was an idol. I didn't realize it was an idol until I get to this place and I'm like, Lord, what is it that I'm doing wrong? Sometimes you see, we may always want to, it's important to always look inwards. Sometimes you're looking outwards, pointing fingers at everybody else and forgetting to look inwards. And so I decided to look inwards and ask the Lord, what is it that I'm not doing right? What is it that I'm missing that is causing delay for me to meet my kingdom spouse? And I remember I'm scrolling through TikTok and I find this couple, they're celebrating 17 years of marriage. And one person asks the wife, what prayer did you make before meeting your husband? And she says, she told God, I don't care whether he's Indian or white or black or blue or green. I just want a man after your own heart. I want a man who knows how to love you, God. A man who surrenders to you. A man who just loves you, God. And that's more than enough. And so immediately the Lord convicted me and told me that's the problem. You have stuck on the physical appearance of what you want this man to look like. You may have seen him, but you have missed him because he doesn't look like what you want. You know, you're so interested in the package more than the content in the package. And I said, Lord, you are hitting the spot. And so I go into the place of prayer and the Lord tells me, I need you to surrender these things to me, Brenda. I need you to surrender these preferences to me. And I began to cry and I said, Lord, no, God, you can't do this to me. You told me to be specific. You told me to write my vision in bold letters. Why are you doing this to me? And so the Lord says, no, I'm not asking these things from you because I don't want you to have them. I'm asking these things from you because I need to know that you trust me. I need to know that you trust that the person that I will bring to you, even if he doesn't look like what you want him to look like, that he's the person that you need the most. He's the person that with you and him, you will bring my vision to completion for my glory. And I said, Lord, I understand where you're coming from. Have you ever just had to negotiate with God? And I said, God, I understand where you're coming from. In fact, I do. In fact, God, I do. But God, why? And so I remember the Lord used this beautiful example in the Bible, the story of Abraham and Isaac. And the Lord told me, when I asked Abraham to lay Isaac on the altar, I didn't want to take Isaac away from him. I wanted to give him something better. The lamb that came there is Jesus. I don't know if you guys know that. But in the Bible, when that place where Abraham lays Isaac on the altar and then he sees a lamb right there, that lamb represents Jesus, you know, and that's the lamb that was slain. And so I said, Lord, that is such a good example. But Lord, why? And so God says, I need to know that you trust me, that I am the best matchmaker, that I am the best storyteller, that whatever I will give you is what you need. That is not something that will come and destroy you. I know the plans that I have for you, child. Just give me these preferences. He told me, lay them on the altar. And he said, lay your Isaac on the altar. And the lamb that I will give you is much better. And I said, wow. So after an hour of negotiating and fighting, I finally laid those preferences on the altar. And so the rest of the testimony will be shared in due time when the Lord allows me to do that. But what I'm trying to say is this. Is there something that you're holding on to and it's withholding a greater thing that God has for you? Is there something that you're holding on to that is withholding the greater blessing that God has for you? So my reminder for you today is this. Lay your Isaac on the altar. Lay your Isaac on the altar, and what the Lord will give you will surprise you. Sometimes just laying the Isaac on the altar, the Isaac will come back to you. So you'll be surprised. Just trust the Lord. Trust that He's the best storyteller. Trust that the plans He has for you are plans to give you a future and a hope, and not plans to destroy you. Trust the Lord when He says, let go. If it's that job you've been holding on to, you're like, if I lose this job now, what's next? If fully in your heart, you know you're supposed to let go of the job, but you're just holding on. You don't want to let it go. But the Lord is saying, let it go, because what I have for you next is greater than this. And so you may find that you're scared to let go of the current, yet the next is bigger, way bigger than the current. Jesus was way bigger than Isaac. So you're withholding the greater blessing and holding on to the small blessing. I'm not saying Isaac was a small blessing, please don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying, is it a relationship that you're holding on to? Could be anything. It could be anything. You don't know who you are without this current thing. But the Lord is saying, let go. So if you've been asking God for a sign, this is your sign. Let go of what the Lord has told you to let go of. Lay your Isaac on the altar, and the lamb will be greater than anything you know. I hope this message blesses you. I hope this testimony blesses your heart and encourages you. And God bless you. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.